Hi everyone, Robert here, and welcome to my GFW Impact Wrestling September 7, 2017 review. Before I start, there were rumors this week saying that Impact Wrestling GFW was for sale, and the one talking about that was Sport Illustrated. And they were once again talking about doom and gloom for GFW. What would be my response towards that? I would say, like Mark Twain and his famous quote that say like this: "The rumors of my demise have been greatly exaggerated." How many times have we heard the same thing? I pay no attention unless something happens. I cannot dismiss all of those rumors because I am too tired of seeing that type of stuff and information running around. But I got a question for you, the GFW Impact audience. Let's say if Sports Illustrated didn't put the word rumor in front of it and they were making the claim that GFW Impact was hammering money, losing $1 million a year, would you be in favor of GFW suing Sports Illustrator after the time period that journalists have to retract their news? Would you be in favor of that just to make an example out of them? I ask you that question to you, my audience. By the way, they are the ones making the claim, and that is something called the burden of proof. If you make a clone, if you make a claim under something, you should be the one providing the proof, not the person being attacked. That is called the burden of proof. With that out of the way, that did not judge cloud my judgment of this show. This show felt like when you're building a song. You know that I am a musician. I also a songwriter. I have been playing in bands for years. But there comes a time when you got a song and you got that key of that song and you have a multiple different riff and on different patterns, right? And you put them together. They are on the same key, but they sound stitched together. This is how this show felt like. By the way, after I ended up watching this show, I was saying to myself, what, what should I be, you know, making a drinking game next time I watch Impact Wrestling and take a shot, vodka every time they make a video package? That was the first thing that came through my mind after I watched the show. But let's now talk about the positive. Now that I defended the company, then I attacked them. So now it is time to actually kind of describe the show and talk about the show. We got the opening kind of package, if you say, the arrival of the two people that are gonna be in the main event. Eli Drake and Matt Sydal. They're gonna be battling for the GFW title tonight. First match, we got Trevor Lee, Kylie Conley versus the exhibition champion Sanjay Dutt and Petey Williams. Cool match. It remind me a lot of the second wave of exhibition talent. something like if you have a couple of bucks, go ahead and check out the DVD, The Best of the Exhibition Volume 2, and you will see what I am talking about, what I am referring to. Not the first wave, which it was Loki and AJ, but the second wave being Sabin, Petey Williams, Sanjay Dutt, Alex Shelley, Austin Starr, better known as Austin Aries. Next, we got a stuff. By the way, Petey Williams and Sanjay Dutt, obviously, they won after a cool combo between the Canadian Destroyer and then a top rope splash from Sanjay Dutt. Next, we got a squash match from LAX. I think they're putting too many squash matches, one after the other. If you're watching the show episodically, and I'm probably butchering that word, but it is what it is. I'm tired as hell, but I'm still, doing the review, trying my best shot at this. They are also setting the feud between OBE and LAX. That is gonna be the feud going forward with OBE obviously watching LAX from the back. And after the match, that ended up making a match that is gonna be happening at the Crash, LAX versus OBE. By the way, I think this is a odd pairing. You know who I feel like it would be a better opponent for OBE, believe it or not, the Motor City Machine Guns. I think that is a better pairing than LAX versus OBE. The same as LAX. The match that I wanted to see at Bound for Glory was the new LAX, Santana y Ortiz versus the old LAX, Hernandez and Homicide. But that is not possible, at least as, as we know today, right? Next, we got a tag team match, a knockout tag team match. I'm happy to see, that being once again being in the forefront, the tag team matches. By the way, I did all my research for an upcoming video that is gonna be the best matches of the knockouts 10 years. The knockouts division is about to be 10 years in October 13th, the premier USA mainstream female division, knockouts division. Cool match. We got at the end who Sienna ended up pinning Alin for the win. There was obviously interference and stuff. And after the match, Taria Barcaria ended up appearing and making her debut. And she ended up attacking Rosemary. I think that is a good pairing, to be honest, because everybody knows that Rosemary is one of the most over people in the impact zone. Therefore, if you're a big deal, a big shot around, the one you are gonna go after is, the most popular person in that division, right? Like the best debut in TNA history, Desmond Wolf going after her angle. By the way, it is cool seeing Sienna. I'm not a fan of Sienna, but I think she matched well with Taryn Terrell. And obviously, Gail King and Alin are gonna be, working cool together because they are clear cut baby faces. Next, we got a cool promo from none other than Senshi, better known as Low Key. He's mad that he didn't get a shot for the GFW Global title since he was pushed in to that spot. Now that Alberto El Patron is not around, he feel like he's entitled that shot. Jim Cornette decided to build upon that and make it a number one contenders match. Johnny Impact versus Loki, and that is gonna be happening next week at GFW Impact Wrestling September 14th. That obviously I'm gonna be reviewing. Next we got Joseph Park and Grado making a recall because they ended up finding out that LBN Laura Banest is Canadian and that won't help Grado. She ended up you know being dismissed, being turned away, and we got hints that she's gonna go her always her evil ways. They ended up also showing a package of the GFW starts at AAA. That's something that happened. You can find that show on YouTube on his entirely. I didn't like that show, to be honest. I don't know. I saw it on Spanish, so I don't know how enjoyable was the show for the English speaking audience, but on Spanish it was terrible, especially from the announcers. We got Josh Matthews, and the stuff that were saying worse than Josh Matthews. They also did a video package on Desmond and Serbier. So, they haven't forgot about him, and that is a good deal. Then we also saw clips of El Pagano. He's coming to AAA. By the way, it is. Do you feel, you audience, that GFW misses Crazy Steve? Let me know in the comment section. But I feel like these two missed each other. I was highly surprised that we ended up seeing a video package on Garza Jr., who, as I said on last week review, he's a star in the making. He's a diamond, and he could be that crossover star, believe it or not. Then next we got another video package of Eddie Edwards winning the NOAH title, the WCH Global Championship. So that was cool, but too many video packages on this show. That was kind of the big deal. But this led up to the main event time, which it was pay-per-view quality. The Global Force champion Eli Drake versus Chris Adonis versus Matt Sydal. Good match. Good. Very, very, very good. This kind of also feel like old school when, they put a lot of guys from other territories that they are going to be bringing in, and then they deliver the big main event. It felt kind of like it in a weird kind of way. At the end, we saw Seidel going for the shooting star press. Chris Adonis ended up distracting the referee. Drake was able to crack Seidel open with the title belt. And after that, he was able to hit the gravy train for the win. My overall thoughts on this show, not terrible, but it didn't match well. It felt stitched together like a patch or something like that. A miss. This is a miss this week. This is a L. But not every single week is a you have the winning strategy. I guess this is it. Let me check out the chat for a second. Yeah, yeah. Thanks to everybody who is in the chat at this moment. Let me take a look. Yeah, we got people excited for Pagano. That is good. Yeah, LB agrees with me that GFW misses Crazy Steve, and Crazy Steve misses GFW because he's always retweeting stuff by that. Jorge is talking about that he loved the Loki promo that was very fiery, very passionate. That was good. Mm, How do you guys kind of feel about him now being sidetracked after this? How do you what who do you think would be a good pairing for Loki? That is a better question. By the way, Coleman writes, Jungle Burrick in GFW worries me. That worries me a hell of a lot. I, you know, I, I, I dark times are ahead. Is if this guy is the head of creative, but things are forever evolving in the GFW land. That is kind of the way that GFW have always been, but now we're seeing it too fast, and that might rub people off. That happened to anyone. And whoever have worked with any type of a project knows what I am talking about. You know what I was thinking? Do you know drag racing, right? GFW in a weird way feel like a car racing project, meaning that you may think that you have a formula to make your car run better. You buy all the pieces that you need and blah blah blah, and you go ahead and test the car, and the car breaks down and you have to rebuild and start to rethinking once again, what is the formula. Okay, at this time around, in a weird way, GFW feels like this. Now let me check out the chat. I got your TNA guy saying have missed the show 2 weeks in a row. That sucks. By the way, I, let's be real around here. It is kind of hard to find the show ever since there are not that much people uploading that to the Pirate Bay, and you have to dig a little bit deeper to find the show. I don't know why, but I am not, you know, crazy about it. If you wanna find the link towards the show, always hit me up, and I'm probably gonna hook you up if I had the link. Your TNA guys saw that it's saying that Petey Williams is a good pairing for Sonjay Dutt, and that is good because they come from the same era, from the 2007 to 2009 X Division era. So obviously their styles are is gonna match well, and they in a way represent a era of the X Division, being like mid card talent of the X Division in that era. So it is cool, kind of seeing two eras clashing if you are thinking about it, because you have the second wave of exhibition talent versus the four-way that would be like Andrew Everett, DJC, the new DJC, right? uh Callie Conley, all the guys that they are bringing in. My thoughts on GFW Network app that is gonna get launched this upcoming week. I'm looking forward to it. If I am available to be, here at home, I will be, doing a kind of review on it. It all depends how it runs, and if it runs on Puerto Rico, I don't know. Maybe I may have to do a little trick, but I'm gonna make it work. I am excited because I have been dying to review all TNA pay-per-views, and now it would be available not only for me, for you, my audience, to see those shows and talk about those retro shows together. And now that we got, the eyes into the future, go ahead and rewind and rewatch the show. That was something that, I was dying to happen. Next, we got Jorge writing. He find it fishy that Gaburik was still on Anthem payroll, and I find it the same way. He was the one, backstabbing TNA big time. Big traitor, talking to Kevin Dunn from the WWE, trying to sell the library for cheap, trying to do a deal. I, I would not have that guy watching my back, but I think he's clever on his politics. That's how he's able to be ahead. I think missing Jeff Jarrett, and Jeff Jarrett. I don't know what is happening behind the scenes, and I don't want to know if it is personal. It's personal. That is not my lane. But he's like a father figure to TNA, to GFW, and you know, it's like seeing your father having problems. It will make everybody, uh, how can I say it, uncomfortable and self doubting. That is a problem GFW had for a lot of time. GFW had the problem of lack of confidence. And I've always felt like when Jeff Jarrett was around, he injected that confidence to the talent and to you, the fans, because believe it or not, it is more, it is closer, the connection between the GFW fan and the talent. Why? Why? Because if you're still a fan of Impact, you have passed through all the years of back stuff happening and whatever shenanigans, and you're still around. That means that you respect this project that is Impact, and you have hope for them to finally deliver. You might be a fan of the stuff they're doing. It could be something ideological or pragmatic. It could be a number of ways that you are attracted towards Impact. Let me open up the four wall, because this is something I had never said, public, right? Before I started watching TNA, once uh they make their debut on Spike TV, I was not watching wrestling. Why? I ended up quitting wrestling, at least American wrestling, mainstream wrestling. Why? It was an angle that the WWE did with Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero, rest in peace. And they decided to do a ladder match with the custody of Dominic on the line. And there are two things. And if you know me, I am not a politically correct person, but there are two things that are off limits when it comes to wrestling, which is my favorite entertainment. Number one, dead people. That is off limits. Why? Because cannot defend themselves. Number two, what is off limits? Kids. I found it distasteful, making angles with kids being involved. And when I saw that angle, I say, that's it. I'm hanging up my boots. I don't want to see wrestling anymore, American mainstream wrestling. Once I was able to see TNA and like some of their stuff, I was able to re fall in love with professional wrestling. And that is something that I forever will be grateful to GFW, to TNA. Let me read the chat before I go. Yeah, Coolman is saying that he got a feeling that Crazy Steve might come back. I have the same feeling, man. I have the same feeling. I'm reading Taryn Terrell and LBN merged together. Really good. Yeah, Taryn Terrell and LBN both are really good when it comes down to character development. Those facials and that kind of stuff, cool stuff. I think that match up of Taryn Terrell being psychotic and LBN being a drunk, a crazy person, and kind of having a underlying psychotic tendencies could match together. It could be a new twist to towards LBN because she was starting to get a little bit stale with the character, but injecting Tarantino could be a boost, and I think they could work pretty good together. Jorge saying that the Loki promo was from the heart. Yes, that is true. He he talked like this is real, son, not like our pro wrestling promo. That is something that translate really good from the screen to you as the viewer. That was good. Elvis Ryan, that he doesn't know how John Gabori have a lot job with GFW. That's true. I don't get it either, and he doesn't want John Gaboric to have too much power. I agree with you, LB. I don't want him, to have too much power as a production guy. Yeah, he's not bad, but I rather give Kevin Sullivan more power because he is loyal and he knows what he's doing. You have seen the improvement of the video packages of GFW ever since he got back on the Impact train. So I think they should give people who are being successful a little more responsibility and let him run his department and add 2 3 guys to that department so they could be the production team and get a bigger crew. But GFW, they're trying to do like how can I put it, they're trying to do the most amount of revenue without wasting too much money. They're trying to be money efficient. So that is why they're, you know, doing this kind of thing. Uh, or he's saying that he guess Dixie might have brought Jungle Boy again. I don't know. I don't know how much amount of power. I cannot speculate. My only guess is that he's good selling himself. That is how I perceive it. But I am not backstage. I'm just a fan, and the new booking thing is supposed to be John Gaburik, Sonjay Dutt, and Scott Damore. I have a lot of faith in Scott Damore. He was one of the guys helping the Knockouts division during the heyday. I think Scott Damore gets it. I have praised him big time. And one thing is for sure, he knows how to train wrestlers and how to look for talent. He was able to make, you know, Rosemary, Eric Young, Bobby Roode, Alex Shelley, Chris Sabin, Petey Williams, and the list goes on and on and on. All those guys came in from the Scott Damore dojo. He knows how to train people. He have a good eyes for talent. That is a guy that you want to have him around. But John Gaborik, I'd rather have him as the head of creative. There are also Jeremy Borach might be in creative, and I am in favor of that. Why? Because who knows better what Impact is about than Jeremy Borash, who have been there since day one. Yeah. JB and Dutch Mantel. Yeah, there's always this episode was not towards my taste. I felt that it felt too stitched together, like riding a wave that didn't have a rhyme or reason. It was it was kind of the amount of video packages, all of them together on the same show. That was the thing. But I still have a lot of hope for GFW. I think they're still, experimenting. But I think once you start self doubting, once you regain confidence in yourself as a company, that might be what GFW might be missing. It's just like let's open up once again the four wall when you're knowing a female, a girl. If you happen to like girls, if you happen to like boys, I don't know how you feel. Man, that is not my lane. But who would you rather be with? A female who have confidence, or a female, a woman who's always having self-doubt that she looks fat or she looks ugly? Of course not. You would rather be with the confident person. And this might be one of the reasons why there's might be struggling at this moment, especially on ratings. I think they're having too much self-doubt, and I won't be surprised if that is translating towards the TV audience. By the way, one of the things that I wish I could be, around would be my father. Why? Because my father had been a fan of professional wrestling for years. He's a casual fan, and I could use him clearly as a gauge, a measuring person to see how good GFW Impact is doing it. And his commentary always on professional wrestling is on point. I don't know, how he's able to not necessarily figure things out, but get the clear translation into how it made him feel as just as a viewer, as a part of an entertaining. I wish he was around longer with me, but it is what it is. That is happened to anyone who is an adult. Jorge is writing, he wants to see GFW have a second show, yes, especially for the US audience. And yeah, that's good. LB is writing that Ed Norton, right, that he was interested in bringing Lucha Underground and New Japan Pro Wrestling onto the Global Wrestling Network, and that is good. That is really good. I think you can build a coalition. That is a good idea that Norham is having the power of many people, many companies together, because you know there must be something new in American mainstream, and I think something global could be likely to find its way to the mainstream. I'm gonna make a comparison, and probably you never thought about it like this way, and that is my last thing. It is I'm sweating like a madman, but this is my last commentary. And if you happen to be a basketball fan, right? You got the American basketball style of basketball playing, right? That is what it's called, the NBA style, which is very Americanized. You got a lot of running from the shorter guys, and you got a lot of power move and dunks from the big guys. And then you have FIBA, right? Which is the international, league, when they do like Olympics and that type of stuff. they are usually play by those rules, right? I think GFW should strive to be the FIBA of professional wrestling. How can they get there? That is not my job. That is not my job. But FIBA, not and the FIBA is not necessarily a challenge towards NBA, but it is a different flavor because you got people like European, centers and stuff like that making 3-point shots and that type of stuff. I think that is something they should strive upon. By the way, last comment of the live stream, Lashley. I like the angle with Lashley. I like the angle with Lashley a lot. I hope he wins at Bellator because he should have a big world title fight at Bellator. I hope he'll leave, right? But then he returns to Impact Wrestling with the Bellator belt. I think that could be good. I think that could be good and might gather a lot of curiosity towards Impact Wrestling. I guess this is it. Thank you to everybody who was in the chat room. By the way, it looks like I might be doing next week review at this time because I know I had a lot of activity at the chat room tonight. Thank you a lot for the support, and I will see you next week with my usual GFW Impact review. I hope you enjoyed this video, and this is it. Goodbye, and thanks for listening.